It's Triple Crown here, Friday, October 11, 2024, back in the Music City, Nashville for the Nashville Card Show. I've got a table and a half today set up alongside a friend of mine. We decided to grab a couple tables together and split them up between the two of us. This should be a fun show. You can see my cases are fully loaded, ready to go. It's been a few weeks since I've set up, meaning I've been able to turn over a lot of my inventory, replenish, and get going.
How you guys doing?
Good about yourself?
Good, thank you.
Friday at this show is usually just fine for me. I don't think I've ever had a outstanding Friday by any means, but good enough to kick things off for the weekend. A lot of Friday for me at this show has been dealer-to-dealer stuff. A lot of people don't even fully set up on Friday, or if they do, they kind of put a few things out and have someone watch it while they walk around. You'll have a lot of dealers coming up trying to buy things. Usually they want a pretty good discount on it. Makes it a little bit more difficult to sell on Fridays, but still going to give it a shot here today and see what happens.
Can I see this here?
Yeah. The reed, right?
All right. Okay, your best price on?
I'll listen to an offer.
Sounds good. Actually, you mind take a picture? When I take a picture and send it to a guy?
Yeah, go
That's what
ahead.
it's going to be for, so.
Yeah. Do whatever you need.
Buying for somebody.
This Jaden Reed card that this gentleman is looking at right now is one of those where I need to kind of move on from. For me, a lot of the ultramodern football I get, I can usually get a pretty good sense of if it's going to move or not based on the first 30 days that I have it. Because if it lasts beyond that, usually it means it might be a little bit tougher to move, or my price is usually too high with how strong the ultramodern football market has been. This card I've had, I think, going on 2 months now. It's not an exorbitant amount of time, but still it's enough time where it's gone through a few show cycles. I haven't really had too many bites on it, meaning if I can get an offer at least close to what I was into it at, which was $280, I'll go ahead and move on from it and use that cash to move into something else.
$275, he said.
275. Yeah, that's fine.
Good?
Yep.
That's what he says. It works for me.
$275 was good with me. I understand it's a $5 loss. Perhaps I could have pushed for a little bit more and got it, but to me it was close enough. If the buyer had been right in front of me, that might have changed things, but having to communicate through text, I didn't want to take a chance of possibly losing out on the sale just because I didn't want to take the loss. I will gladly take the sale over preserving my pride.
Well, you got wrestling. That's my also. He's only in this year's product, right? 2024. They didn't make a 23 with him.
He is in the AEW stuff from like 21 and 22, but he wasn't. I think because he was contracted with them, he can't appear.
Without fail, wrestling cards have actually been one of my better sellers every single time I've come and done this show. It kind of happened by accident. I had purchased a collection right around the time I did the first ever Nashville show that had a few wrestling autographs. I put them out. They were all gone within the first couple hours of the show. People were asking me about it too. Ever since that, I've made sure that I've had a decent selection of wrestling stuff anytime that I come down to Nashville. And you can see here, it's already being asked about in one of the first clips of the video. In fact, I had two pretty nice color blasts come in the day before I left for the show. They had to take a little detour through the mail system. Thankfully, they arrived in time for the show. I wanted to make sure I had those on hand, but yeah, knowing your customers, knowing what they're asking for is going to be key to having success at any show. I use the same strategy back home, but also once I start doing regional shows like this more and more often, you get a better feel for what people are looking for down here in Nashville. Wrestling moves pretty well for me. Therefore, I'm going to keep bringing it until it doesn't move well for me.
WWE stuff.
Is it? Can I see that Jade?
Yeah.
Do you watch WWE or just like buy cards occasionally?
It's kind of like with basketball where it's like I'm going to follow, what's going on just so I'm not like blindly buying things and stuff.
The only sports that I really sit down and watch these days are both football and baseball. I will watch golf if I can get access to it. A lot of times it's not available on the streaming services I have. And then there are also times where I'll watch basketball or hockey, especially if one of my teams happen to be on, being the Pistons or the Red Wings. I don't watch wrestling week to week. I do keep up with what is going on loosely. I just kind of read recaps. And the reason I do that is just to kind of stay on top of who's popular at the time. And that helps me in the card game too. I don't want to blindly sell these cards and not kind of have a pulse of what is actively going on. Now, I will say wrestling is a little bit more hands-off because a lot of it is nostalgia based. I sell a lot of the names that would be popular amongst people who have never watched wrestling before, right? Like, people know who The Rock is. People know who John Cena is. So these people who have kind of transcended wrestling into pop culture, those are usually the names I'm going to stick to. But I will dabble in some other ones if I feel like there's an opportunity there.
Ripped a bunch of it. Just wanted to for fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't really collect wrestling, and he just blew it out to me. Like, so
That's the way to do it. That's how I buy most of my. I go around and find everybody that's got wrestling that doesn't look like they
do wrestling.
What can you do on them?
I do 80 on all three.
Well, I have confidence that no one's going to buy them before I get back here.
I'll set them aside for you. I'm not worried about it if you want to hold on.
He had to go back to his table to get some cash real quick, but it was a deal at 80, 3 wrestling cards sold, and it's not going to be the last ones that sell at this show.
What are you kicking the tires on?
What's that?
What are you kicking the tires on?
I'm looking at the Saquon, the Sauce. Probably those two, the ones I'm looking at.
I got you.
You take 40 for the pair?
I do 50.
Make that work.
Cool, thank you.
Normally when someone comes to my table, I'll greet them and I'll encourage them to ask me for help if they need help on anything, but sometimes I do step in myself if I feel it is necessary. I can usually tell based on body language when someone's really looking at something, and I can kind of feel out the situation. If I feel like I want to prompt them to tell me what they're looking at, I will, and sometimes it leads to a sale like you saw there.
I'm actually scared to buy. It's like, but how much cheaper can it go, you know?
Well,
I mean, yeah.
you could test fate and find out for yourself.
I know, right?
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't, but find out.
Jesus. Thank you. I mean, what you think would be about the best you could get to on it?
I would do 11 on it. I don't really want to go much below that right now.
Yeah. Do any trading at all?
Yeah, take a look what's got.
The card being discussed here is a Anthony Richardson Kaboom. This is actually a card that is on consignment for Justin. Really, when I'm looking to trade here, I'm just looking for something that will help me maximize my value and perhaps be an easier sell. A Richardson Kaboom is going to be anywhere from probably 1,000 to 1,200 right now. It has definitely dropped quite a bit in value. With that in mind, I want to try to move into something where I can get a little bit of cash to bring him back, as well as a few cards that are a little bit easier to move. If he has some cheaper Bengal slabs, that'll be nice for me to go ahead and bring back home. Since I'm out of market now, I can probably get them for less of a premium than I would have to pay back in Cincinnati. Otherwise, I'm looking for things that maybe don't sell as often. Perhaps there can be a little bit of a margin there that I can make up. This Richardson card is going to be one that is probably going to end up being an L, but I can at least try to recuperate some of what has been lost on this one. One more note that I'll make about this is that card was asked about a few times, and you heard him say that he was kind of wondering, how much lower can it go? Is now the right time to take the chance on it? Well, I think that was something that was a recurring theme at this show. There were a lot of people who were asking me for my Burrows. There were a lot of people who were asking me about Tua. There was a lot of people asking me about Will Levis. That one makes a little bit more sense. And then I had several asking about Anthony Richardson. It seems that a lot of these guys who might have been a little bit down, perhaps their team isn't performing as well or they're not performing as well, people wanted to kind of buy low on, which, hey, that's how you're supposed to do it, right? Buy low and sell high. But a lot of these people who wanted to kind of go in on these guys have now waited for the market to somewhat correct itself to pounce on it. It was something that I haven't seen too much in the current times of ultra-modern football, but definitely a different strategy from what I'm used to and a little bit refreshing to see as well.
I do like 900 cash with this Gibbs.
Ain't gonna lie, I don't know if I want to do that much.
All right.
Because there is one that did 9 recently on that. kind of scared. I mean, a couple did do 11 right at the 11 mark, but that's really the only one that you'd want to do anything trade on, or maybe a couple of them.
This isn't a huge card, I don't imagine.
No, it's like $2,500.
What did I say? I said 9 in this.
Yeah.
I'd come down to like $850 if you included the Chase Brown. That'd have to be my best for now.
You want that? I hate raw cards. I don't grade anything. You can look at it and check it out.
I like it. I just don't know how much they are.
I think like 175, 180.
For birdie? Really?
Yeah, yes. I don't think it's very high. You can double check me.
I feel like that's just like shockingly
honestly,
cheap.
yeah, I mean it is. You know, I'm not. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. Like I said, I don't really do any raw cards at all. So I'm definitely not tied to that one.
I mean, it's a little more, but it's not like I was expecting you to say like $400 or $500.
Oh no.
This birdie card is perfect to finish this deal. It's at a much more movable price point of a couple $100 for me. This gentleman is not too attached to it because it's a raw card. He doesn't really like raw cards. He prefers graded, and he seems to value it a little bit less. I'm going to try to get it done with this birdie.
I do 6 cash on these 3.
And what do you value on that one at?
I'm saying like around. I'm basically calling these two like 250 together.
Right.
And I'm calling that one 250 as well. You want to take the chance on it. I think this is the best. This might be the best opportunity.
Oh no. Yeah. How long is he out?
He's a game time decision for this
that means
week.
he ain't too bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean maybe next
Full
week.
practice.
Yeah.
He's not on IR, which that was the one thing. Like I knew he wasn't on IR, which means he would have been back within the next couple of games. So I guess he's either this week and I think
split the difference when let's do 550.
Firm at 6.
Come on. Come on. Because I feel like that one's 250 all day.
Yeah, I agree with you. About 580.
Whatever. Let's
all right. You got a deal.
You mind if I keep my cases here?
Absolutely.
I know you probably don't want them anyway.
He caught me in a good mood. I moved down to 580 for him. Really didn't want to lose the deal over $20 because I thought it was pretty fair. I'm able to get some cash for it, actually about half cash on the card, and then 3 more cards that are going to be a lot easier to move. I have a lot of shows coming up throughout the rest of the fall. I want to be able to have stuff that's at a price point that's a little bit more easier to sell. Cards over $1,000, they tend to sit most of the time, especially when I'm doing my smaller local shows. The cards that are only a couple $100 each are much more feasible, much more realistic to move, especially getting the Chase Brown, which is only like a $25, $30 slab, but one that for sure will move in the Cincinnati area that I'm from. Gibbs is always popular, and it's a micro mosaic case hit, of course, and then Brock Purdy. I get asked about Brock Purdy a lot, so that's one that is pretty much a surefire move. So very pleased with this one.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the show, man. Good luck.
I'm looking to see the Cody, but also any other Cody stuff.
No, I thought I did, but that was somebody else's box that's on my card. So. He has like an Elite Red PSA 8. It wasn't anything great.
Any kind of room on it?
Yeah, I'll listen to an offer.
I know raws between 6 and 8. Like I'd love to be as close to that as possible.
You better now?
I mean,
10?
there's only been one sale, and it was like
trades with you guys
1009 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's got injuries.
At bids, I think. Can you give me
Bring any of your cards that you can trade with?
I couldn't do that. I would do. I do 9 on it.
Did you part cash, part demo? Does that work for you?
Yeah. Cool.
It's one of the cards I came hoping to find. So.
Oh, perfect. It almost didn't make it here. It went on a journey.
If you asked me at the start of this show which of my bigger cards in my showcase were going to move, the Cody Rhodes Color Blast would probably be 1A next to the Richardson at 1B. And sure enough, both of them are gone. Now, this one was all straight cash, I guess technically cash and Venmo, based on how he paid. But I had a feeling that bringing some of the higher end wrestling to Nashville would work out well for me. Both the color blasts I brought got a lot of attention. The Cody was gone really within a couple hours of the show opening to the general public. This gentleman actually came back later and told me that that was the one card that it made his show, basically. He, as you heard there in the clip, had come to the show specifically looking for that card. He was able to find it relatively quickly at my table, and it worked out. That's something that I really do love to hear. I love when someone is looking for something specific. I happen to have it, and we can shake hands on it. And when they come back to tell me that it made their show, I don't know. That's just one of the coolest parts about doing this for me and selling cards. It's something that I can relate to. I'm sure a lot of you out there can relate to finding something that you really wanted at a show and then being able to pick it up and the dealer working with you. To me, that's the experience I want to provide, and I was glad that we were able to get this deal done for that reason. It makes it a little extra special for me.
Really one of those guys that's probably more appreciated when he's gone.
The gentleman in this clip was wearing a Mike Evans jersey. I happen to have several Mike Evans slabs in my case. I don't know why, but he's a guy who always seems to find his way to me. I really like him. I think he's an underappreciated player in the hobby. Now, I see people who come up to me with all sorts of jerseys on all the time. Sometimes they're just wearing a jersey because, well, that's what they wear to a card show. I used to be the same way before I made my Triple Crown shirts. I would always wear my black Players Weekend Miggy jersey to any show that I went. That was, I guess, my uniform, if you will. But that doesn't always mean that if someone's wearing a jersey that they're looking for that specific player. But in this case, he saw the Mike Evans, it caught his eye, and he wanted to take a look for him, which I thought was pretty cool because I had a feeling that at least one of these two slabs is going to move, and they were definitely going to go to a good home.
No, he does not sell at all.
Just trying to find the comp on this one as well. I don't know that one quick.
There's like a bunch of, as you can tell by the same variation before, there's a ton of
there's like ball in left hand, ball in right hand.
I can pull that one up for you if you need me to.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
This is the one you're having a problem with, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Roman first. Would you be willing to do 80 on it?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Only because you're wearing the jersey.
Okay. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
He ends up choosing to buy the black refractor there, a really sweet looking color match from 2014 Bowman Chrome. I like that card a lot. I think that was definitely a good choice over the silver prism. At least that's what I would have chose if it were me as the buyer here. It's just extra cool to see cards go to someone who you know for sure is a fan of it. Same thing happened with the Cody deal, and now here on the Mike Evans, it's just really extra special when you're selling those types of cards. At least it is for me. That's going to wrap it up for the Friday portion of the Nashville show. I'm making one more sale here in the background as I wrap up the video. Overall, it was fine. It wasn't a great Friday by any means, but it was at least on pace with how I normally do on Fridays at the show. Usually, again, Saturday is the day that kind of makes or breaks it for me. A lot of people can't get off work to go to the show on Friday, so a lot of times you're just dealing with people who happen to be on vacation or they live in the area locally. Perhaps they're in cards full time and therefore they're able to make it out to a show on a Friday afternoon. But it was fine. I had a lot of fun during the day. A lot of the sales I made, a lot of the interactions I had fun. I wasn't nearly as, I guess, on edge or stressed as I have been at some shows, admittedly, in recent times and even back going into the spring or summer time. It was a much more relaxed environment, and that definitely felt good. My friend next to me, she seemed like she did pretty well as well. There was one large sale that she made kind of towards the end of the day, and that was a lot of fun to watch it go down. But outside of that, really just par for the course in terms of a Friday afternoon of a multi-day show. That's going to wrap it up for me. I will be back later this week with the part 2 for Nashville. But until then, take care, stay safe, and be kind.